Hi folks, it's Rich here and welcome to the Novice Noisemaker. I'm a novice guitarist and makes noise. Yeah, I do. Anyway, some exciting shit's happened today. For those who've been following me for a while will know I'm going through a real Chapman phase. Chapman. And whilst we're on the topic of just guitars generally, what is better than a new guitar day? Not talking about, and stuff. What's better than new guitar day? What is better than new guitar day is getting your guitar back from a professional tech day, because if you open up an unboxing for a new guitar, there can be problems with it, and often there are. But when it's coming back from your tech, it's sorted. Hello, Tom. Tom of Tom's Guitar Shack. I'll put a link down below. Here in the UK. He's based just outside the West Midlands region and bloody amazing. And if you're too far away from him, you can post your guitar and he'll post it back to you. And he was saying to me today, because we're having a bit of a general chit chat about QC on guitars. He's got some clients who are spending £7,000, £8,000, £10,000 on guitars. Lucky them, that's what I say. Oh, excuse me. And they're having them, and they're receiving them and just getting them sent straight to Tom before they've even unboxed them to get them sorted out. So Tom, amazing. Let's have a quick chat about a couple of things he's done for me. I'm real. I'm so grateful. Stuck. We'll pick up this one first just because it's the nearest one to me. This is my Chapman ML1 Hybrid. I've had several of these, but never one in this sarsen stone, which I really fancied this colour. Now when I got it, the guy hadn't used it for 18 months. He'd got a shoulder injury, which is a bit of a long story, but he'd not used it. So it's unloved, it was dirty, had 11s on it. And Tom, now the light's not very good because it's evening here, but do you get the idea how polished those frets are? They are shined within an inch of their life. Now Chapman have rolled edges on their guitars anyway, but Tom's done that. That is just smooth, ridiculously smooth. I had an ML1X recently secondhand, which had sharp fret ends, and that is really unusual. I've had a lot of Chapmans, you never get that. They're smooth, but Tom has smoothed them out. And the action on this thing is, I like it really low, so I don't have to press too hard. As a beginner, I find that nice, that's what I like. It is so low. And I asked him to set the bridge to float slightly, which he's done. Yeah, look, can you see that? See its arse is in its air, is in the air slightly. Whoop. So I've got a little bit of pulley back, not much, I don't need much, and a bit down, but it's really sensitive. And these push-in trem arms on these Chapmans are really nice as well, so you can move it out the way, it stays there, move it there if you want to. Nice. He's played with the nut, made the tuners all feel the same. But one of the big things on this particular one that bless his little cotton socks. I had a message from him at 2:07 AM today saying, can you come a bit later to pick up the guitar than intended, because this one has been a bit naughty. What had happened, and I'm sure Tom will fill me in on a bit more detail if I've forgotten, but basically down to I think it says about the 15th fret, some of the frets weren't seated properly. And the neck as well had a little bit of a ski slope at the end. He's taken the neck off and looked underneath, and it looks like it hadn't been the best one out the factory, and they've tried to make the best of it. He said really it probably shouldn't have got through QC. So he spent a shitload of time reseating and leveling all these frets down at the bottom end here to make it super playable, as all Chapmans are for me. Yeah, so I'm really chuffed with it. I've had a little go with it. I'm going to do another video on that. It sounds beautiful. It's just really, really nice to play now. One thing actually, when we're chatting about Chapmans and QC, Tom pointed out the bolt-on necks specifically, saying that all the screws on all the Chapmans are always dead central. They've really screwed in well. He likened it to a PRS, which I think is a compliment, because PRS QC is really, really good. Yeah, and anyway, whilst we're chatting about QC and Chapmans, he raised a fair point, and it's something on the Chapman Facebook users group that I'm on. Is a lot of people like the older ones because they think they're better. And what Tom's takeaway on it is the newer ones, better pickups, maybe better woods or some better hardware, but the attention to detail not as good as the older ones. The QC side of things not as good as the older ones. So I'll be interested to see what you think. Now this I'm really excited about. when I got this Cap10, it didn't work. The ground wasn't wired in, and it was a mess, and it needed restringing, and it needed some love. And the action on this, because I've asked them to hardtail this one, is even lower still. I mean, you just barely have to touch it. Mahogany body, 3-piece maple neck, which Tom's very kindly sanded down a little bit at my request because it was a tiny bit sticky. And the frets on this, I mean, he's polished the life out of them. This guitar's had some real use by a guy who was in a band. So there's a tiny bit of fret wear on some of these up here. He's polished them up really nicely. But look at that rosewood, even in this poor lighting, how dark that is. You get Grover tuners with these. I love Grovers. Always love Grovers. Just great tuners. And it's got Seymour Duncans in it. JB in the neck. I don't know what it is in the bridge, I forget now. But yeah, some proper USA Seymour Duncan pickups. Brass saddles aren't standard on this. I love brass saddles. You get a full-size block. It's not actually too heavy, this guitar, compared to some others. Now, I don't know about the neck. I'd be interested to know if someone can tell me on here, but this is a bit slimmer than some of the other Chapmans I've got, and it feels a bit flatter as well. Definitely slimmer here. Now, I know Lee Anderton had this based on one of his old Strats that he really liked. So on the one hand, that kind of tells me that the net radius might be reasonably traditional, or say modern traditional, like 9.5, 10, but it does feel a bit flatter than that. And because it's got high output pickups and it's a slightly modern take, I wonder whether it's a 12-inch radius. I don't know. But we're going to plug that in on another video, and that is amazing. I'm absolutely delighted of that. So like I say, having them back, knowing they're perfect in a way, well, is definitely better than getting a brand new guitar. And because you know what you're going to get for that, do you? Now, I did a little shootout on Ibanez pedals and my Behringer Overdrive, and the TS7 edged it for me on that challenge, even though actually all the overdrive pedals, there wasn't a great deal in it, especially for how much more money some can cost. So I'm chatting to Tom, and he said, because I took his pedals back for him, I'm so out of breath, just eating a big meal and I'm old and fat. And he said to me, which one did you like the most? And I think I mentioned it in the video, this one just about edged it really. So he's got 2 of these, and gets one out of the box and says, here, you can have it. I'm like, you can't have that. Well, I've already offered to pay him more money for the fixing of the guitars. He wouldn't take it. And he's just given me this, and he wouldn't take me any money for that. I mean, what a guy. And then, sadly, he's given me a tuner. I'm going to have to actually be in tune from now on. Yeah. So a couple of takeaways from this, really, is it really is worth getting your guitar set up. You know, I've played loads of guitars that aren't set up all that well, and just for a bit of home use, yeah, some of it's noticeable, some not so, but just knowing that all the frets are perfect, intonation's perfect, everything's kind of clean and tidy, and all the frets are polished and levelled, and it's got the strings that you like, and things like nut lube and making sure the nuts are cut properly, all that stuff. Just knowing now that these are perfect is a lovely feeling to have, and more inclination. I mean, I know I've said this before, but I'm not selling these. This is my little Chapman collection. These are just not going. Obviously spent £1,000 on the ML3 Pro. Never going to sell that bugger. I love it anyway. The Cap10 has got something special about it, being a bit used and now loved. And this is my 5th hybrid, and I've gone back to it again because it's a good guitar, and I probably shouldn't have sold some of the others. But yeah, anyway, Tom, thank you so much. Unbelievably grateful, really, really am. And I'll always use you forever now, anyway, for anything that I need. So I will see you on the next video.